Hey, peace and love, everyone. We are getting it together. Happy Sunday. I don't know what made me say do the show Sunday at 8 a.m., but here we are doing it Sunday light, Sunday morning, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. every Sunday. Oh, man. Yeah, but it's all good. It's all divine. Right? It's all divine. And we're going to do this until we can't do it no more. Right. The beautiful thing about creating your own stuff is that you can recreate it and you can create it in a different way. Right. Create it in a way that makes sense for you. Because if you know me, I am late night. Weekdays is a little earlier to go to bed, a little earlier, and don't got the show starts at 9. An hour later makes a huge difference. I like to stay up late Saturday nights. Always have. Right. Even if I'm home doing nothing. Right. Whether alone with Kimona, with my mom, right, wherever I'm at, I like to be up at night on Saturdays. Right. It's just something. I don't know. I don't know. But also what's funny is that originally I wanted to add a Saturday night show, right? And we still are working towards that, right? Even before Sunday Light, when I thought about this concept of Sunday Light, I was gonna do Saturday Light, right? Saturday Night Light, because on Saturdays, in the hood, is where a lot of murders happen, right? A lot of people get killed on Saturday night because that's even the working class people are off work, people are outside, people are drinking. It's just more stuff that happens on Saturday night, Saturn, right? Saturn night, a lot of hectic energy, chaotic energy, a lot of fire energy with Saturday nights, and so which is why I created the From the Ground Up, right, along with Eddie and Lenora back in 2020. We created uh, not Saturday Night Light, but we created From the Ground Up, which was an outdoor spoken word open mic series, Saturday nights, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m., just to shift the energy, right? Create something positive on Saturday nights. Saturday night is the night I caught my case. All right, I shot 9 shots at a group of people on Saturday night, August August 4th, 2004. It was a Saturday. Um, yeah, a few of my friends were killed on Saturdays, right? Saturday nights going into Sunday morning, right? So late night Saturday. Um, a lot of shit happens at that time. So we created From the Ground Up. And since starting SR Daily, I wanted to create something Saturday night where we could gather and we could speak and we could share inspiration, uh, you know things that we've read, things that we've lived, share experiences, meditate, pray. So same similar concept of Sunday Light. I wanted to do Saturday, and so I'm still figuring it out. I'm still figuring out what does a Saturday show look like, because Saturdays are also you know a lot happens on Saturdays, positive and not so positive. But welcome to another week of Sunday Light. Mona Love, Great Rising, happy, solid, and soulful Sunday. Today's topic is the mind of God. That is what we're going to talk about today. Specifically, we're going to explore the question: is technology and AI part of the mind of God? There are a lot of different thoughts about, number one, about God, period, right? But even more so about AI and technology. And is it a benefit to humanity? Is it a curse to humanity? Right? Are we all doomed? Right? Everyone's losing their jobs and all of this stuff. AI is replacing jobs, and all of the hysteria, all of the confusion, all of the fear, and all of the excitement. Right? Because there's a lot of excitement around AI, around technology continuing to advance. And I think first, before we even get into it, right, we are gonna do a prayer. We got some blue sage over here. We're going to light, and we got some Palo Santo. We'll do at the end for meditation. Um, but understanding that technology, as its definition, literally means to make life easier for humans. All right, technology is a creation, right? We created technology to make life easier, to make life simpler, communicate more vastly, right? Communicate more simply, to just, yeah. Um, but let us, I don't even know if that mic was on. I think it was on. I just turned it on. If it wasn't, my apologies. But let's get into prayer. All right, let's burn some of this blue sage here we got. Got some of this blue Sage. That is my name. Blue Sage is one of my names, one of my monikers. Blue Sage Ali. Blue is my favorite color. I am a wild sage. You know. But as we burn this blue sage and as we settle our minds and our hearts and get into a prayer space, my prayer on this Sunday is that all of us, every voice that hears these words, every heart that hears these words, every person that hears these words, understands their place in the universe, understands their place on this planet, understands that their mind is indeed their greatest source of power, their ability to think, their ability to process information, their ability to advance humanity if they choose to, in whatever way that they can, whatever way that they feel fit for their lives. I pray that every person who hears these words remembers that God is in all things, remembers that the divine is in all things, even the things that in the moment at the time don't seem so divine. I pray that every person who hears these words remembers that no energy escapes the universe and that life is indeed eternal. This human experience is just that one experience, but we are not our body. We are not humans having a spiritual experience. We are spirit beings having a human experience. And so all things return to the spirit, all things return to source. I pray that everyone who hears these words remembers that sometimes in life there are setbacks, but every setback is grounds for a comeback, and every breakdown is grounds for a breakthrough. And so even when it seems like things are not going the way you want them to, for yourself, for your family, for your community, for humanity, I pray that we remember that sometimes we take 2 steps back to take 10 steps forward. I pray that everyone who hears these words remembers that stillness is the way, and in stillness comes creation, and in stillness comes the ideas that can transform not only your life as an individual, but the lives of your family, your community, your friends, and the world as a whole. May we all embrace stillness. May we all embrace innovation. May we all embrace change. Although it may not be comfortable, life is all about change. May we remember the old adage, no pain, no gain. And so may we embrace the pain that we feel and transmute it to something more ideal. That is my prayer on a Sunday morning. Ashe, ashe, ashe. The mind of God. First and foremost, when I think about God, when I think about that term, God, that word, right? That, that phrase, that saying. What is God means so many different things to so many different people, right? When I think about God and when I speak about God, I'm not speaking about it from a perspective or from the thought that when I speak about God, I'm speaking from the understanding that it is a word that we created as humans. That which is eternal, that which is divine, that which is all knowing, all powerful in all places at all times. I like what our Jewish brothers and sisters would say. They would, when they write God, it would be G-O-D. It would be, it's unfathomable, right? It's unfathomable to say this is the name of the divine. Like, number one, you can give many names, right? But all the names, if you can speak it, it's not the true thing. It's not the truth of it if you can say it with your words, right? Because that which is eternal transcends human understanding. It is beyond anything that we can fathom. So, from that perspective, humans, at some point in human history, once we could speak, right? Because before we could speak, quote unquote, the divine existed, right? Like that which is eternal existed before we could speak. And then before we spoke English, right? So when I speak about God, I'm speaking from that term. There are a lot of people who will say that, and even in the Christian text, right? It says that God made man in his image, right? Well, that's what people say, God made man in his image. In the text, it says, and God said, let us make man in our image after our likeness. So that's a whole another theological, journey. Is who is our, right? Who is our? So my perspective of God is a little bit different than some people's perspective, right? So when I speak about the mind of God, what am I saying? I'm saying the mind of all, the mind of the all. Can we understand? Can we begin to understand what is the mind of the all, specifically as relates to the question: is AI and technology part of the mind of the all? Absolutely, it is. Because what is the all? The all includes all of human and all of creation prior to human beings as we are, right? That which is known and that which is unknown. The mind of God, the mind of creativity, the mind of eternity, the mind of divinity, the mind of everlastingness, right? The mind of omniscience, omnipotence. And what's the other word? Is omniscient, omnipotent, and omnipresent, right? All powerful, all knowing, and everywhere at all times at the same time. If that is the truth, if anybody, especially my Christian brothers and sisters, if we can say that God is omniscient, omnipresent, and omnipotent, how can we then say that technology and AI is not part of the mind of God? It's not part of God. With that, of course, just like humanity, there are positives and there are negatives. There are parts that are extremely beautiful, and there are parts that are extremely the opposite of beautiful, ugly, so to speak, evil, right? Because if one makes sense, then the other makes sense. And if God is everywhere at all times, like we say, God is good all the time, and all the time God is good, then how is there a time God is not good? Even in the Christian text, the devil had to go to God for authority to take away from Job, to test his faith. So this conversation, this topic is inspired. Number one, I am tech forward. All right, I am someone. I watch the movies. I understand. All right, like tech forward, but also like, yo, I don't know about a freaking. My brother-in-law got a Tesla, and I'm like, yo, can't that thing like just stop? Right? Like we see movies when even the cars stop. Like, no, I'm not going there. Right? I think we watched a movie. The lady got in the car and was like, "Take me here." I was like, "No, we're going here." Like, wait, no, like doors not opening. Frightening, scary, alarming. Of course, very real. I've seen iRobot. Right? I've seen all of the movies, and still, I've seen all of the movies. Right? And so, same way, technology is like that. Like, is people programming it, right? And one of the things about tech is that one of the things that I think a lot of people are afraid of when it comes to tech is that it develops a mind of its own, right? AI develops a mind of its own. Robots develop a mind of their own, right? Humans are more powerful still. And so when we ask the question, is technology and AI part of the mind of God? And from my perspective, if I'm going to say yes, I'm going to then say, so then can it has been, right? Can the mind of God, can this technology, can this AI be programmed for good? Of course. I think one of the greatest, I guess, challenges of humanity has been, or one of the greatest questions is, can we live forever? Right? Can humans live forever? Humans, I'm going to a funeral later, right? A friend passed away, a sister around my age, right? Maybe a year younger or older, give or take, right? But I've known her since elementary school. She's a cousin, right? So she's a friend of mine, but she's also a cousin of a friend who's closer to me than she was, right? She passed away. I don't know the details behind her transition. I just know that last week, all of my friends started posting her image picture, right? And I'm writing stories about it and all of that stuff. So going there. And people were saying like life is too short. I've come to understand that even if we live to be 10,000 years old and the person you love transition a day before, you would say life is too short. Even if we had 10,000 years, humans would say life is too short because we always want more time. Every baby born, as they develop, they want more and more and more. That is a human nature thing. We want more and more time, more food, more joy, more love, more peace, more harmony, right? More pleasure, more of that which makes us feel good. Every baby wants more time with mommy, more time with daddy, right? More milk, more playtime. We want more sleep, right? We want more exercise. We want whatever it is that we enjoy, we want more of. There's not enough hours in a day. You've heard that before. I've said that before. You may have said that before. There's not enough hours in a day. We need more time. Humans again, life is too short. Person transitions at 30 years old, a baby transitions at 3 weeks old. Somebody lives to be 101. Life is too short. Wish I had, wish I had more time. I promise you, if we live to be 10,000 years old, if it was you and your lover, you and your best friend, and they transitioned a day before you knew you was transitioning, right? Or they transitioned today, they're 9,999 years old. You would say, I wish you had more time. Because there's always more to do. You always want to do more. You want to experience more, right? You want to learn more. You want to teach more. You want to love more. You want to spend more time in their presence. So when we speak about quote unquote living forever, more time, one of the things that AI is trying to figure out is how do we create this superhuman? How do we create this? Again, I spoke about it on SR Daily the other day. 3D printing already did the 3D printed freaking organs. There was a 3D printed, if I'm not mistaken, about a decade or so ago, a liver or a kidney was 3D printed. Right? And it was like, oh, 3D printed freaking kidney and organ. All right. I spoke about a few weeks ago on SR Daily. I'm not sure if I mentioned it here on Sunday Light, but in reading his book, How to Create a Mind, right? Ray Kurzweil, one of the things that I mentioned it, the Blue Brain Project, right? How to humanity is figuring out, and this book was written, I think, in 2012. So they were figuring out, and I think they kind of figured out how to create non-biological neocortex, right? Thoughts, memories that are not in the human mind, that are not in the human brain, right? That are in the quote unquote cloud, right? That you can download at will and access at will. Humans are always trying to advance. That is part of our job, is to evolve. I saw an image the other day on Instagram. Somebody said, I think it was Gary Vee yesterday, maybe. The only people who fear change are losers. Like so many people in every generation, there are always people who fear change, who fear evolution, right? When we were riding horses, humanity was just riding horses, right? And it took days and months and forever to travel from one place to the next. And then somebody said, we're gonna come out with a car. It's like, no, it's never gonna happen. Right? We ride horses. That's what we do. Like, yeah, that's what we do now. We don't have to do it forever. We need to make travel faster. Be able to travel with more people in one space together, right? And then when cars, it was like, yo, we need to go from here to there. It was just cars and it was boats. And it was like, we need to fly. Like, because we need to cross this ocean and we don't got 6 months to cross the ocean. We need to get over there like ASAP. Planes, phone, right? It was the phone. You had to sit in one spot. You had to sit in one spot and use the phone with the wire. And somebody said, man, it would be great to be like move around the house, right? And then there was the wireless phone. Right, wireless phone. You got a phone in the bedroom, a phone in the living room, a phone in the kitchen, wherever your phone is at. You can move around the house. Go in the bathroom, go cook, right? Go do whatever it is that you want to do. And this one is like, man, wireless is great, but it's right here. I go outside and it loses service. I go in my backyard, my front yard, and it start losing service. I can't hear you no more. You need a cell phone. You need to be able to go outside. You need to be able to talk while driving. Right? You need to be able to talk while driving. Like evolution. We are always evolving. We are always adapting. We are always advancing. Right? We are always creating things that help us move forward as a human species. That is our job. It's not just to be stagnant. It's not just to stay where we are, right? In the time that we are, in the space that we are. No, it's to move forward. What does humanity look like in 10 years, in 20 years, in 50 years? It should not look like it looked today, let alone 50 years ago. What changed? People fear change. The people, I like to think, this is my thought. I like to think that a great deal of the people who fear change are people who are not fully living in the present. So they don't want things to change. They want things to stay like this because they know that they are not fully absorbing what this moment is because of emotions, because of fear, because whatever it is. So they want it to stay like this so that maybe tomorrow they'll be able to experience today. Like, nah, today is gone. But now is tomorrow. As if we live, if you wake up, tomorrow gonna come. And even if you pass, it's gonna come for somebody. Right? So how are we thinking about the future of humanity? Right now, technology. I spoke. I share so much in different ways. The girl with half a brain I spoke about. Right, technology is the reason why children who have epileptic seizures can have the part of their brain that's seizing removed, and they can still live pretty normal lives. Technology. Right, technology is this show exists because of technology. We're able to talk to loved ones. Like, you can literally video call somebody on the other side of the planet in real time. Technology. Right. Heart transplants. Right? Like, so much is because of technology. It's perception. How are we looking at it? And how are people using it? So with that, of course, there are aspects of technology, right? There are people who do not have the interest of humanity in their heart at all. All they're interested in is profit. And they're actually interested in profit at the expense of humanity, controlling humanity, exploiting humanity, right? Putting people against each other, right? So that they can profit and make money. There's, of course, some people like that. So they program AI and they create systems, they create technological systems that do that support that. And there are people who love humanity, genuinely, every aspect of humanity, even the people they don't actually like, right? They love humanity. They don't want to see them dead. They don't want to see them hurt. They don't want to see. No, it's like, I don't like you because of maybe certain behaviors that you do, but like, I still need to figure out a way to advance all of us, right? Not excluding some of us. So there are people like that. There are people who have used technology for the benefit of humanity. There are people who use technology for the benefit of humanity. And there are people who will use technology for the benefit of humanity. AI included. Right? AI included. We complain about it, but we use it. Maps. Yo, I remember, I'm old enough to remember, and this is with a computer, right? Like, so like you had to print out freaking MapQuest, right? Like, what about the people who freaking the maps was just on paper? Yo, it was just like a map. Like, it was no direction. It was no like MapQuest, right? You could freaking print it out. It was go here, turn here, go here, turn here, turn here, turn here, turn here. Before that, it was, man, people were traveling like with paper maps and getting lost and arguing and all of that stuff. Like, it was crazy. And again, I'm old enough to remember that. Like, when I started really traveling on my own, MapQuest, right? Computers, right? 90, 96, 97, 98, 99. But prior to that, as a little boy, right, traveling with my mom and my dad, they had a freaking paper map. Yo, children today would be super lost. A paper, what? Yo, that's an artifact. A paper map is an artifact. Like, I didn't even think about it like that. Because now everything is, even with the smart glasses, you don't even got to look at the thing. You ask, hey, Meta, how do I get to such and such? Like, technology, being able to travel, being able to communicate, right? Being able to, like, again, one of the goals is a super mind and a super body with, like, me and Mona asked the question, you don't gotta die. Would you, if you could be cloned, would you be cloned? Clone is separate, right? Cloning. My children and I spoke about that. But if you could, you, not being cloned, but you, if you could live forever, would you? Yes, eternally, spiritually, consciously, consciousness exists outside of the body. Spirit returns to source in some way, shape, form, right? Your physical body decomposes, goes back to the earth. Some way you live forever in that way. But if you could physically, in this body, live 900 years, 10,000 years, 20,000 years, would you? Some people would. Some people wouldn't. Ain't that the same for everything? Some people are striving to really to live, even to be freaking 95. Some people, they ready to die now. I ain't got nothing to live for tomorrow, just like yesterday. I'm waiting for the Lord to take me. All right. Two sides to every coin, as they say. All right, it's two sides to every coin. Old adage, it's two sides to every coin. If you could look at something that's being positive, there's some negatives to it. If you look at something that's being negative, there are some positives to it. This is when we get deeper into the mind of God. You, individual, human being, mind of God. What are you using it for? What are you doing? Right? What are you creating? How are you using the creations of others? Are you using it to benefit your life, to benefit your family? And I think a lot of people's fear, yes, is based in reality, right? There are some wild, cruel people in this world. And because there are a lot of wild, cruel people in this world, there are a lot of wild and cruel people in this world. And so I think a lot of people's fear is that they would use it for bad if given an opportunity. Because a lot of people would. I remember being younger and asking, uh, talking, to friends, if you had a superpower, what would it be? And I remember so many people saying that they would be invisible. Why would you be invisible? So I could go into banks, I could go into this, and I could take this, and I could take that, and I could, like, there are people who would be invisible so that they can watch people. It's real. It's really people like that. That was a real conversation. We used to ask, if you had a superpower, what would it be? And so many people would want to be invisible. Not so they can't be seen, right? Like, so they can't be seen just generally, but so that they could exploit others. It's like a glitch, right? It's like a glitch in the matrix, like a glitch in humanity. But that's again, if you have humans who are naturally extremely altruistic, you have humans who are naturally the opposite. That's just the polarity of life, right? It's this way and it's that way, and it's a continuum. It's a degree, right? Degree of separation is not always that big, neither. It's not always that wide, right? It's this close. It's like just a circumstance, right? But that's all you need is a circumstance. That's the difference, or just a different uh moral, right? A different principle that you stand on, that no matter you not doing this, there's something that you're not doing. Like, there's some principles I have that, yeah, I'm just not doing. I don't care what's going on, I'm not doing this. This is something I'm just not doing it. I don't care the circumstance. I don't care what changes. I don't care the situation I'm in. I'm just not doing it. But some people don't have that. Some people don't have that. Some people, I'll do anything at any time. I don't give a damn. They won't do it because, like, for example, something that's extremely like trigger warning. There are some people who they're pedophiles, right? There's some people who condemn pedophiles, right? Some of the people who condemn pedophiles are only condemning pedophiles because it's against the law. There are adults who would have sex with children if they would not get in trouble. If it was not against the law and if they knew that they wouldn't be prosecuted, possibly, and persecuted by their fellow humans, they would absolutely have sex with children. There are adult women who call little boys their husbands. It's my little man. I can't wait till he get older. And there are adult men who look at girls and say she's gonna be bad when she get older. Look at little girls. She's gonna be bad when she get older. They look at little boys and say he's gonna be this when he get older. It's adults like that. That means that you already have a thought about them in that way. If they're gonna be bad when they get older, that means there's some level of attraction to them now, something about them now that makes you think that, oh, well, there's something now. And if you wouldn't get in trouble, if your friends or your people, your family wouldn't look at you, right? If you wouldn't get arrested, you would absolutely do it. And how do we know? Because there's some who do it. There's many who do it. There's many adult men in the hood sleep with young girls, pursue young girls. There's many adult women in the hood who sleep with young boys. And not just in the hood, just generally, right? But who pursue young boys, seduce young boys. It's positives and negatives. It's a fucking spectrum, right? A lot of the fear of technology, I think, is rooted in people's personal what they would do, how they would use it to exploit humanity. And so if I would do this, I can't even imagine what another person would do because I ain't that bad. Right? I just want a little money. I just want to have a little fun. I don't want to hurt everybody. I don't want to like So yes, be mindful, but be open, right? Dear friend of mine, I spoke about this the other day. Dear friend of mine is talking about my glasses and was like, my sister as well, right? The smart glasses, meta glasses, was like, can't people be talking to you and you don't even know they're recording? So then, can't there be men who record women and take pictures of women, right, against their will? Like, yeah, that's very possible. That happens. Has there been men who have always done that? Right. Absolutely. Right. Secret cameras. Now, are there freaking tools that make certain things easier? Absolutely. Absolutely. What do we do with that? Do we live in the fear that, everybody's now gonna be just recording? They're recording people without them. Number one, the glasses, one thing they do is like they record, but this is the flash. You see a light, right? You see the light. Like, pay attention, which has always been the thing, right? If you know there are creeps out there, then pay attention to your surroundings. Pay attention to who you're talking to. All right. And again, like there's some things like you could pay as much attention as you possibly could, and there's some things that still happen. Right? You tell women watch their surroundings, at night, walking home, walking from the subway, walking wherever, and shit still happens. Right? Because if somebody wants to do something, they're gonna do something. I remember a sister told a story and it was so heartbreaking. Right? She said when she was younger, she used to young lady, beautiful, nice body. She said when she was younger, she used to wear more fitted clothing. Right? She got raped, she got violated. Right? One of the things that she said, people would tell her was, and this is what they say, maybe, what you was wearing. It's like, what the fuck? Bullshit. Right? Bullshit. Fucking nuns get raped. Right? Like, it's fucking not what you were wearing. So she said, so she started to dress more like a boy. baggy clothes, oversized clothing, big jackets, hoodies, sweaters. Said walking home, still got raped. They told her one of the issues was the revealing clothing that she wore. That's why she was raped. That's what they told her. She said that's what was one of the things that she would mention. We would sit in a circle, and she said that was one of the things that people around her said. Well, maybe if you didn't dress so, you always dress provocatively, and she said okay. So she took that. She said maybe I do dress like showing all of my stuff. So she started wearing baggy clothes. When I met her, she was wearing baggy clothes. Like that's all I knew. I didn't know, right? As we got to know each other, as we became friends, and we sat in the same spaces, in the same circles, and did this healing work, right? It came up. That's what happened. And that's why she was dressing like that. She said, and dressing like this. She had like freaking big hoodie on, like big hoodie, like right, oh, big jeans, boots. She said, dressing like this, walking home in this area, I still got raped years later as a young woman. So I brought that up to say if people want to be creeps, they are creeps who have no impulse control, right? Who want to cause harm, they're going to find a way to cause harm. Regardless to they're gonna figure it out. I've always said that yes, like do guns make it easier to shoot somebody, to harm somebody from a distance? Absolutely. But if someone wants to kill someone, knife, poison, bat, hand, like there's so many ways to kill someone. They show 1,000 ways to die. And yes, a lot of those were freaking like people's quote unquote accidents. But like also, people have many ways to cause harm if they want to cause harm. Yes, there are always tools, there are always technologies that make things easier. Right. And so now that's when, as humans, we got to figure out if this thing was created, right? How do we make it as challenging as possible to cause the harm? Right? How do we reduce harm reduction, right? How do we reduce harm, even though this thing exists, right? How do we keep it in a way that everyone's not harmed? So we speak about guns, right? Safety, right? Take guns off safety. All right, like parents in the home have guns legally, right? Put them up, lockbox. Don't just leave it under your bed. Don't just put it under your pillow. Don't just put it in your top drawer. Put it in a lockbox away over here where the child can't reach it, right? Where they can reach it, they can't open it, right? It's just that's how we have to think. So that's how we have to think about AI technology. If there are aspects of it that can be detrimental to humanity, that can be harmful to humanity, what parameters can we put around that? Right? How can we use harm reduction as a way to exactly that, reduce harm? So we got to think as opposed to, because AI is here and is advancing. So being afraid of it isn't going to stop it from impacting your life. Not wanting it to be here is not going to stop it from impacting your life. There are too many people who are for it. And outside of that, it's part of the evolution of humanity. We have created technology to make our lives easier, to figure out how to make us more, to track our health, right? To like so many different things, so many different benefits. But now that's when each individual has to take, and some people, and this is the thing, right? It's the saying, it's like being ignorant of the law doesn't excuse you from the consequences of breaking the law, right? I learned that young. I didn't know that was the law. Well, now you know, and now you got to face the consequences because you broke that law. It's like, damn, that's the way it is. So standing back from AI technology, saying, "Oh no, like I'm not going to use that. I'm not going to engage in that," does not stop it from impacting your life in some way. Driving, communicating, working, banking, right? Your economics, the education, right? Like travel, all of the different things. Now, of course, there are always some people, even in advanced societies, quote unquote advanced societies, right? Developed societies. Freaking crazy. There are always some people who figure out, right? People have old cell phones, right? People walk and bike everywhere, right? There's always some people who they figure out their way. And so like, cool. But I don't think that a lot of those people are spending so much time worried about. All right. And this is the thing though. Even if it's not you, you got family, you got siblings, you got nieces, nephews, you got cousins, you got people who you care about. Some people are able to detach from everybody and say, everybody can do their thing. I'm going to do my thing, and this is the thing that I'm doing. And that's cool. You got to know what works for you. Right? You got to know what works for you. You got to know what works for you in relation to creative intelligence, in relation to the advancement of humanity. Right? Are you in the middle of it? Are you leading it? Are you stepping all the way back and saying you don't want humanity to advance, and so you ain't engaging in no part? You're actually disengaging from every part of the advancements that humanity has made. You got to know you, because God, the mind of God, is creative, is supreme intelligence, and it's all about expansion and forward progress. How do we move forward? How do we advance civilization? How do we help people get healthier, get wealthier, live longer? How? And I think that's what a lot of scientists, engineers, tech forward people are trying to figure out. Again, of course, there's some people who are trying to figure out, how do I make more money? How do I exploit more of humanity? How do I control more people? Right? How do we freaking population control? Right? How do we? Of course, there are people like that. I like to think there are more people who are quote unquote good than not. The issue I found, even with that thought that there are more good people than people who are not good, is that a lot of the good people are sitting home doing nothing. A lot of the people sit home and complain. They don't engage. Right? They sit home and complain about every single thing that's going on, the things that the bad people are doing and the things that the good people ain't doing. You should be doing this. If I was in that position, well, do something. Do something, because like in a lot of ways we're getting our fucking ass kicked. Right? In a lot of ways, people are getting their ass kicked. Good people are getting their asses whipped. So-called good people are sitting home, comforted at home. I made it. They didn't quote unquote make it, right? They just home in their struggle, in their bubble. These other people got to do it, passing off responsibility. When in all actuality, we all have power to do something, power to affect change, power to advance humanity, and power to potentially stem some advancements. Like, you know what? That's not good. I see the potential in that, and that is dangerous. What can you do about it? What will you do about it? What are you doing about it? Because everybody, that's the beauty of where we just came out of celebrating Kwanzaa, Kujichagulia, the right to self-determination. Everyone has a right to self-determine for themselves. But you got to be active. You got to be active in your liberation. You got to be active, right? And that which you want to see come to fruition, whether it's to bring something new, right? To advance something that exists, or to stem something that's developing. Do something about it. Sound the alarm. Go to the institutions and talk to the people. Don't people want to, oh, they're going to see me as a crazy person. If it's that important to you, who gives a damn how they see you, how they label you? If it's that important to you, if you see this huge danger coming, there was a movie I watched a couple years back, and it was like a natural disaster, right? I think it was like a meteor coming or something like that to Earth in the movie, and there was a guy who saw it, right? He saw it, and everybody, they're doing all of the things, and they're talking about the advancements in tech, right? And space travel and all of this stuff. And he's like, no, like this is, and he's got the maps and he's showing them this is. They're like, oh no, that's not gonna happen. And he's going crazy. He's going to the news stations. He's going everywhere, telling them about what he saw. And they thought he was crazy. But what happened? Eventually, they called him and was like, oh shit, you right. We see it. What can we do about it? And now he was able to get in and he like helped save the planet before it was destroyed, right? Sound the alarm. It's an issue that you care about, right? Like I know that I could sound the alarm more on how food, processed food, um, fucking toxic chemicals, meat, and all of this shit, how it leads to more violence, specifically in the black community, right? How certain diet leads to certain behaviors, right? We know that. We know that food impacts thought, impacts how you feel, impacts how you process information, impacts energy levels. Food impacts every aspect of your life, right? And so if it impacts every aspect of your life, it impacts your behavior in our community. What do we have? A lot of people who are short tempered, right? Who are frustrated, right? All of these things, and then you have so much violence in our neighborhoods. I can sound an alarm on that more. Why are so many children in the black community disconnected from themselves and each other? Yes, it's all these other things, right? It's all of these other things, and they all work together, right? The entertainment, the music, right? Like the lack of education, they all work together. But if you change your diet, you change your life. You change what you eat, you change how you live, right? You start to process things a little bit differently when you're eating differently and when your cells are able to breathe. You start to just see things differently, hear things differently. All right. So you gotta make some changes. Gotta make some changes. Uh, and in making changes and making adjustments, making those changes, making those adjustments from the perspective that the all is the mind. And they say a drop in the bucket, a drop of rain in the ocean, ultimately, enough drops create the ocean. You want to bring something into fruition, you think something should be the drop in the bucket. Spread, grow, teach, share, right? Get other drops in the bucket. And whatever you want to see manifest, whatever you want to see come into fruition, it will. You have the power. We are the mind of God. We are God's mind. All powerful. Right? Can do anything. Right? Everywhere at the same time, conscious. You can literally, in Taoism is a tenet. How can the man know the whole world without leaving his window? Consciousness. You can literally like send your thought and pick up thoughts from everywhere. People all over the world communicate. We operate on a frequency. Can you tune into that frequency? Right? All knowing. Right? Everywhere. Tap into any frequency. They are. They have the I forgot what it's called, but it was like similar like hypnosis therapy, where there have been people who have been hypnotized, and they came out of hypnosis, right, or in hypnosis rather. They were I think one of the examples is like like playing the piano. They became a freaking piano master, right? It's like whoa, like how, like because you tap into different part of consciousness, right? And hypnosis. There are children born, right? Like, or what do they call it? Something savant. Like children who are born super freaking talented, super powerful, super knowledgeable about a certain thing. The mind of God expresses itself in so many different ways. As the saying goes, it's not all bad. It's not all good. It's a little bit of both. It's more good than bad. It's more good than it is bad. It's, what's your view like? What are you looking for? I think we find what we're looking for. If you want to find issues in technology, you can find them. Of course, they're right there. You can find them. So many examples. Smart car shutting down, right? But if you want to look for good, you can. Smart cars, people who can't drive, they're being able to get places. Less accidents, right? They're able to recognize a child, right? Crossing the street, stop at the drop of a dime. Less car crashes. What are you looking for? What are you looking for? That's the question when it relates to anything, right? Is uh um as a man thinketh, right? What you speak, it is what manifests. Steve Harvey talks about people who, men who say women ain't shit, you're gonna find every one of them. Women who say men ain't shit or men are dogs, you're gonna meet everyone who's a dog. What you focus on expands. If you focus on the problems, there's gonna be more problems. If you focus on the solutions and you focus on the beauty, I think you're gonna see more beauty. I think because I have been, again, very aware and skeptical, right? I got in Kimono Brothers car for the first time, right? A couple years back. It seems like so long. Last year, no, 2 years ago, 2024. Right? Yeah, a couple years back. I'm right. Got in this car, right? Tesla. Um, I was in Tesla before, but like always in Ubers, right? I had no friends or family who had a Tesla, right? My first time in the front seat, right? Front seat, passenger seat. I'm looking at the car and I'm like, okay, I'm examining, like, it's cool, it feels, it rides smooth and all of that stuff, but I literally asked her, you ain't scared of it, like, stopping, like, just doing its own thing? All right, so skeptical, but tech forward. Because of my perception around tech, right, and my mission, my life mission to help people, right, to help people overcome um stagnant thought, stagnant way of living and being, right, to become, help people figure out how to become that which they want to become, right, to become with intention. Because of that perspective, because of that angle that I take, this new idea came to me, right? This new idea came to me. God gave me this idea. Now we're building a business around this idea. And a few people I've told this to, like, that shit is fucking genius. You're gonna do a lot of good shit with that. And I know it. A lot of impact, a lot of income. That's gonna then fuel more impact. If your perspective is this shit ain't no good, then certain ideas are gonna come to you, right? And then that's your life, and that's okay, right? Everybody's here for a different reason. Everybody's here for a different cause. Everybody's not here for the same thing, and that's okay. We are all parts of the mind of God, and because God is everywhere at all times, it expresses itself in all of the different ways, right? Positive, negative, and every freaking part of the continuum in between, right? And that's the real deal. And so, the question to you all is, how are you using your mind of God? How will you advance humanity? What ideas do you have that God give you that you can use to advance not only your life but the lives of those around you and the lives of those who will come after you're long gone? How will you use technology and AI to better your life, to better the lives of those people you love? Because the technology is here. What are you going to do with it? That's the question. Oh, thank you, guys. That's the show. It was a lot of comments. Mona was Lee. I was over here like, oh snap! I wanted to get into them, but I didn't want to get distracted. I be distracting myself sometimes. Author Yo Meeks, talk your talk. Thank you, sister. What are you doing with the time that you have? Absolutely. Change is inevitable and change is scary. Absolutely. We fear the unknown, so we should lean in and be in the know. That's genius. That's a bar. I got to go back and quote that. Change is inevitable and change is scary. We fear the unknown, so we should lean in and be in the know. I think Nas said it. People fear what they don't understand, right? Hate what they can't conquer. Sefu said, make your moments monumental. Absolutely. Sefu is such a, you both of you guys fucking poets. Thug poets, both of you. All right. Folks also use destination signs on the roads, highways, and trusted their intuition. Absolutely. And that's the key, right? Trusting your intuition. But we're so disconnected from our intuition, right? We're so disconnected from what we feel, what we think. Again, I spoke about it a couple days ago, weeks ago. We were hiking, right? Like, what do you think? Yeah, I don't know. Like, all right, cool. And my intuition says, let's do this, right? Will folks lean more on technology or the intuition? Is there a way to connect the two to maximize our internal navigation system? Okay, I like that. Okay. Are we doing that now? Powerful thoughts. Powerful word. those inhibitions. That's why alcohol is involved in many sexual assaults. Those inhibitions are lowered with alcohol use. Absolutely. If it's a solidarity over empathy. Absolutely. Listen, thank you guys. We are going to now burn some Palo Santo, get into a brief meditation before we wrap this thing up and let you guys go on with your Sunday. King J Tom, peace and love. Jen Juniper, I am T Keys. Thank you so much, Shanti. Thank you so much for tuning in on Instagram. Willie Well, what's going on? Javona Circle Keeper, peace and love. Let's burn this Palo Santo. To get into peaceful space, you are laying down. Just lay comfortably. You are sitting, allow your feet to be planted firmly on the floor beneath you. Allow your back to be straightened. Chair behind you, couch, wherever you are. Allow your arms to rest gently in your lap or by your side. Allow your head to lean forward so that your chin is in your chest, and allow your eyes to close ever so softly. Simply become aware of your breathing. And the question I pose from the space of stillness, from the space of peace, quietness, the space of creation, I would like you to ask yourself in silence, as part of the mind of God, what am I creating to advance my life and the lives of those around me? As part of the mind of God, how am I using my creativity to solve problems in the world? As part of the mind of God, how am I being? Who am I being? What am I being? Ponder those questions, remembering who you are, remembering why you came here, because you came here and you are here. So what are you doing with your time? Know that you are loved, know that you are sacred, know that you are cherished, and you are adored. You are stronger than you think, you are more powerful than you know, and you are greater than you could ever imagine. I love you. I love you. I love you. I say. When you're ready, you can slowly open your eyes, wiggle your toes, move your fingers, give yourself a neck roll, and come back to the space. Thank you all for joining me this Sunday. I hope that we got some benefit from the conversation. Heavy topic, deep topic, important topic, and beautiful times that we are living in as creators, as miniature gods, right? Able to create at will. Let's remove all of the shackles. Let's remove all of the things that inhibit us from fully being who we are. All right. Some of us have addictions. I know I have some. Right. Some of us have habits. Some of us have thought processes. Right. Ways of being that have not allowed us to fully be who we are. Let us remove all of those blocks, all those inhibitors, and let's fully step into being gods in the flesh, being able to manifest at will. And let's continue to create beauty and wonder. I love you all. I appreciate you all. Thanks so much for tuning in. Please do join us next week, same time, same place, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Sunday, right here, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and Instagram Live. I appreciate you guys. Have a beautiful day.